Hello Internet, it's me Josh, the Aging Gamer. So, happy Halloween! I just love this time of the year, the spookiness of it all, it's just great. Scary great. And I thought now would be a really great time to talk about a game that I've been wanting to review for a very long time now. I want to talk about Castlevania 3. This was released in 1989 in Japan, a year later in the States, and eventually in Europe. After the Castlevania franchise took a more RPG approach in gameplay with Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, the series goes back to its original roots and is a straight-up ass-kicking side-scroller. The game has more story, more levels, more endings, and even extra playable characters. Castlevania 3 is typically regarded as the best of the NES trilogy and is one of the higher-ranked games in the whole series. Netflix even produced an exclusive animated adaptation of the game to its streaming service. So, 30 years after its Japanese release, how is Castlevania 3? How does it still hold up? Well, let's find out. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this is Castlevania 3: Dracula's Curse. So our story begins in 15th century Europe, 100 years before the events of the first game. Count Dracula is using his sorcery to fill the world with evil monsters. The good people of Europe tried to fight off Dracula, but they're simply no match. They must call upon Trevor Belmont. The Belmonts were previously ran out of the country due to people being afraid of their superhuman-like abilities, but Trevor is now the only one who can save the day. Trevor is not alone though, he'll gain several helpers along the way. First, there's Sipho, a disguised monk who uses elemental magic attacks. There's also Grant, a rebel thief with a knife and wall-crawling abilities. And last, there's Alucard, the son of Dracula. Disgusted by his father's way of life, he wants to put an end to this madness. And as you might have noticed, all of these characters' appearances are dramatically different from how they're portrayed today. Trevor Belmont looks more like Kevin Sorbo as Hercules, and Alucard looks like one of those vampires that would actually say "blah" and would own a hotel in Transylvania. But, appearances aside, how does this game play? If you're familiar with the original Castlevania, you'll know what to do. You start off playing as Trevor Belmont. You got your trusty mystic whip, but by smacking down candles you can find power-ups to upgrade your weapon to the chain whip and then the long chain whip. Some candles will give you secondary weapons, like the Banshee Boomerang or the Sacred Water. You can only carry one secondary weapon at a time, so choose carefully. Candles also have a chance of dropping down hearts. Hearts act like they do in the first Castlevania game, where they are magic points for your secondary weapon. Killing enemies also give you a chance of finding more hearts. Throughout the game, try smacking the walls with your whip. Sometimes you'll find extra goodies, like the Leg of Werewolf, that will restore some of your health. Using your superhuman skills, you'll climb stairs, jump on platforms, and kill a lot of monsters as you make your way for a final showdown with Dracula. Like I mentioned, this game is a lot more like the first Castlevania game, and if you played that one, then you pretty much know everything I just talked about. So what are some of the new additions to this game? Well, the first thing you'll notice after you defeat the Skull Knight in the first stage is that you'll come across a fork in the road and you'll have the option to pick between the two different paths. Different paths will of course give you different levels to play on. For example, you can choose to go through the clock tower. Going this way will allow you to recruit Grant as an ally. Or if you choose the bottom path, you'll skip recruiting Grant altogether and just continue through the swamp level. There's also a point where you'll choose between going on a haunted pirate ship to rescue Sipho, or you can go through underground caverns to recruit Alucard. And speaking of those characters, the other biggest addition to this game is the extra playable characters. Depending on which paths you take during your playthrough, you'll have an epic boss fight, say with the likes of the monster version of Grant. He jumps around the screen and throws daggers. After defeating him, Grant returns to normal and joins the battle. Playing as Grant allows you to climb on walls and ceilings, and you'll be able to stab people with his knife. On your way to the haunted ship, you'll fight a giant mallet-wielding Cyclops. Defeating him breaks the curse of Sipho being turned to stone, and she'll join you in battle. And yes, she. The game itself and the manual refers to Sipho as a male, but that's just a translation error. She is indeed a woman, which is backed up by the anime and Castlevania Judgment for the Wii. Sipho is typically regarded as one of the worst characters to play as, but once you get a magic spell, I find Sipho to be one of the best. She gets 3 different elemental attacks, all which work really well for killing bosses pretty damn quick. And last, if you choose the right path, you'll fight Alucard himself. Defeat him, and he'll join you. He has the ability to shoot a fireball. Similar to Trevor's whip upgrades, Alucard can also upgrade his fire attacks to shoot up to 3 at a time. Alucard can also turn into a bat, making it easy for him to sneak around. Having multiple characters to play as is pretty cool and really mixes things up. You can only have one partner at a time, so choose your ally carefully. So multiple playable characters, non-linear paths, great gameplay. What other awesome things can this game offer? Well, quite a bit more. Let's talk visuals. In my opinion, this is one of the best looking NES titles. There's lots of details in the background, and there's a lot of cool looking stages. They just look so damn great. Once you reach Dracula's castle, you'll also get a cool throwback to the original title, both with the music and also with Death returning as a boss. And speaking of bosses, there's a lot of cool looking ones here, like Medusa, the Hammer Cyclops, Frankenstein, and of course Dracula, in all 3 of his forms. Once you beat Dracula, you'll see the end credits. Depending on which ally is with you, if any, you'll get a totally different ending. Pretty dang cool. And of course, the music is fantastic as well. Like all Castlevania games, the music is hauntingly great. This game is no different and consists of a bunch of iconic tracks. So this game just does so many awesome things, so many things done right. It's the perfect video game, right? Well, it does have a few hiccups. There's not too many things this game gets wrong, so maybe I'll sound like I'm nitpicking, but first off, this game's difficulty is on another level. Due to some levels having an abundance of enemies with carefully picked placement, a lot of these levels will have you dodging enemies and fireballs by just the skin on your teeth. There's split-second opportunities to avoid danger that will definitely have first-time players throwing their controller. It's a trial and error type game. Difficulty aside, one of the biggest aggravators to me is the goddamn stairs. If I try to use my secondary attack, I would always end up climbing them, leaving me open to an attack. Also, there's a few instances where sometimes the backgrounds are too detailed. You might lose track of your character or enemy attacks with all the busy colors on the screen. But besides those few things, this is a definite must-play. Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse offers everything you can want in an NES title. It does everything its predecessor did, but a whole lot more. There's solid gameplay, a full story with short but sweet cutscenes, iconic music, plenty of options, passwords you can use so you don't have to beat the game in one sitting. Hell, there's even some name passwords that will give you those extra playable characters from the start. This game is great. It has its difficulty though, so it's not something I'd recommend to the more casual gamer, but if you're wanting a real challenge and you want to experience one of the best games on the NES, you should definitely check this one out. But these are just my opinions. What do you guys think? What do you think of Castlevania 3? Think it's cool? Think it's overrated? Think it sucks? Think it's just one of the best games ever? Let's talk about it down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching my video. If you want to catch more videos later on down the road, make sure you subscribe and go ahead and hit the like button if you like this video. Go ahead and hit the dislike if you didn't like this video. I thank you guys for watching, and until next time, I'll see you all later.